What is going on, everybody? Nathan here. Welcome to another Salty Productions video, and today we're going to be talking about Mercy. I have kind of a series going here where I'm talking about all of the Overwatch heroes, kind of explaining the general strategy you want to be pursuing with all these heroes, and today it is time to talk about Mercy. Mercy is one of the best healers in the game as of this current patch, and the reason is because she has a ton of abilities at her disposal. She kind of brings everything to the table, and it's not as if she's not effective at all of these things. In fact, she is very, very effective and brings a lot of value to the table. So first of all, we have our Cardaceous Staff, which everybody is aware of. This staff heals 50 health per second to whichever target it happens to be healing. And it is actually boosted up to 60 health per second while you are using your ultimate. And so that allows us to really kind of boost our front line and enable them to really sustain a lot of damage. One strategy that you can use as Mercy in order to spread out your healing a little bit is to very rapidly left click on all of your teammates and sort of spread out the rate of heals that you can dish out at any one time in order to keep all of your teammates at a decent level of health versus just, for example, healing the Reinhardt all the way back up to full health and then moving on to the next character. In many, I would say the majority of situations, it is better to keep your team kind of heal all of your team at once if you can. And I'm actually just getting wrecked by the Somber right now, and there's a Reinhardt that appears out of nowhere. A little bit of mispositioning on my part. So moving on, so she also has her pistol available to her, which has a pretty slow projectile speed. But I will say that the pistol's damage is pretty respectable, and actually it does kind of carry on into infinity right there, which allows us to actually fire from very long distances. Oh my gosh. And I got her. Nice. And so there we can see how kind of, if you can land those headshots on her pistol, like Mercy's pistol is a pretty decent source of damage. In fact, if you're kind of looking to boost your team's damage a little bit and your team is doing very good on heals, such as this exact instant right now, if I can stay alive here, that was definitely a mistake to position myself out on the balcony. If you find a lot of your team is at full health, then it is actually advisable to pick up a gun and start firing yourself. I do have my res available, so I think I'm going to try to pull off a sneaky, cheeky res there on the Zarya. And so the pistol is a super, super good source of damage, and you should never, ever, ever be afraid to use it because it will save your life in so many different ways. Beyond that, we move kind of onto her abilities. So let's start off with her passive. So Mercy's passive is to heal, I believe, 10 health per second. Darn it, I am definitely messing up here. Darn it, whole team died at this point. Hopefully I can stay alive. I don't think D.Va has really the engage. Plus, they don't even have the first point yet. Although they were able to stagger me, which sucks, but we do have decent spawn. Oh, wait, no, we do spawn all the way back there. Okay, never mind. Behind you, Mei, behind you. Okay, and Mei just gets executed. I do have everybody kind of muted for this game so that I can kind of continue just talking in peace here, which is not ideal, obviously. Ideally, we would want to be communicating pretty much everything we see to our teammates, but that's not the case. Okay, there's a Reaper behind, so I would definitely want to escape that. Also noteworthy during Mercy's ultimate, as long as I happen to be in this current state, I think I can escape. Oh, look at that. Okay. During her ultimate, so Mercy also heals for 20 health per second instead of 10 health per second, which really allows her to kind of stay on the front lines and really absorb a little bit more damage that happens to be coming her way. Granted that you are not insta-shot by a Widowmaker or perhaps a Genji, as Mercies are wont to do. But Also, while you are in your ultimate, you have an unlimited amount of pistol ammo, and so that should never be underestimated. You can actually pretty effectively assassinate backline heroes such as Widowmaker or other healers, because you can actually just fly up and over the enemy team and really engage those healers from a distance at which they're very vulnerable. The caveat to that is that obviously you don't want to get picked off by, let's say, you know, if you target an Ana and she manages to sleep you. That's kind of a tactical decision you have to make there, as Reaper is hiding around the corner. But that is kind of an effective play to get a cheeky pick here or there. Oh, come on, I gotta dash to this diva. Beyond her passive, we have Mercy's dash ability, which it makes her ultra mobile, right? So this is another facet that Mercy brings to the table. She's ultra mobile, she heals a ton, and she has a little bit of damage. So the key to using her shift is, first of all, you want to make sure that you are slingshotting, basically, whenever you need to close some extra distance. And what that means is that you basically just hold your glide button while you are flying towards somebody, which allows you to get the little extra boost. But another actual tip to use, which I should be utilizing more often, is that you can cancel her shift ability mid-dash, and that way you can actually land exactly on your teammate. As it is when you target your teammate and you use your dash ability, Mercy will dash towards the teammate, but she'll actually overshoot a little bit, especially if you're using the slingshot mechanic. But if I actually cancel it again by pressing shift one more time, not only does it put the ability on cooldown faster, so I can use it again, but it allows me to very precisely target where I want to end up. See, for example, there, I used my slingshot to land behind the Ana, but if I wanted to land exactly where this Roadhog is standing, then I can cancel the ability immediately and kind of stop short. Because one thing you might find yourself doing is overshooting your teammate when you dash and actually moving in front of them. For example, let's say the Reinhardt is low on the front line. You actually might overshoot him and step in front of his shield, and you could definitely get insta-killed that way, which is a very common thing that can happen. And we're going to heal our Symmetra because we get some free ult charge off of that. I don't want to take a Rein projectile to the face here, so we're just going to kind of hang back. So beyond her dash ability, Mercy obviously has the ability to resurrect, which is something that she's known for, given her angel tendencies. And I will say that Res is a super, super high priority ability, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It's an ability that's, I should not walk in front of the choke like that. You should save Resurrect for high priority teammates. For example, this Symmetra right now to me is about medium priority because she's not going to bring a ton to the sort of team dynamic that we have going on. But for example, if you build your composition around a Pharah, or perhaps a Reaper or an Orisa. Behind, back up. Okay. And you kind of need that person to stay alive in order to keep the engine running, so to speak. Then that is always kind of the person that you should be saving that Resurrect for. And you should always, if you happen to have your ultimate ability, or like right now, I'm not going to use it until I find a res that I really want to activate this ability for. For example, I avoided the Symmetra res right there, and I'm actually going to try to also rain some fire on this Bastion. He'll either kill me or he won't. Man, that guy just keeps staying alive. It's impossible to kill this Bastion, man. Okay. Not impossible. Not with that attitude. So anyway, as I was saying, once you have ultimate, really kind of save that ultimate for a flyover resurrect, because it's a lot harder for the enemy to actually hit you when you are flying around, being all speedy. Okay, I'm hoping that Ana can heal the Reinhardt here, but I'm actually gonna boost this Hog. So Mercy's boost does boost your allies damage by 30%, and it fun fact, it does not stack with other Mercies if you happen to be in an arcade match with multiple Mercies. Here we're just going to move back. If that Reaper manages to get out, then I might... No. Okay. Shoot, where was I? Oh, so it boosts your allies' damage by 30%. And the best way to use Mercy's damage boost is actually to only boost your teammates when they're firing their projectile. And what I mean by that is the boost is kind of like a Boolean value, a 1 or a 0, whether it is applied to a projectile. So what I mean by that is that you can actually be boosting your Hanzo for the moment that he launches his ultimate dragon, and that dragon is now damage boosted by 30%. While the dragon is flying by, you can then switch over to boost, for example, your Pharah while she's using her ultimate, or any other champion that happens that you want to boost. And what that allows you to do is kind of maximize your damage output, because one of the weaknesses that Mercy is unfortunately known for is that she's very, very dependent on her team. And I gotta get away from the Symmetra here. I think I should actually res the Sigma. Okay, that was a mistake. And we got to get on point here. Unfortunately, I think the match is pretty lost at this point, but we're just gonna keep going because it is a worthy endeavor to always go for it on the last point. Additionally, Mercy is very dependent on her team. So basically what that means is that instead of playing somebody like Baptiste, who has an assault rifle, you are kind of dedicating yourself to the healing role and therefore not able to output that much damage. Now, I will say that you can bring extra value to the table. You can sort of make up that lack of damage by efficiently boosting your teammates' damage in order to kind of solve for that gap. For example, if I am able to output 3,000 extra damage that my team is able to accomplish, maybe get a couple of limbs that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise, or they wouldn't have gotten otherwise, then I can pretty confidently say that I made up for the fact that I don't have a primary weapon that's capable of generating a lot of damage. There's actually a Symmetra over there. I don't know what is going on here. We're going to take the skirmish game super seriously. And that's one of the other beautiful reasons of playing support, is that you get into matches instantly. It's just amazing, instead of waiting for like an 8-minute DPS queue. Okay. What else is there to mention? In terms of her mobility, again, Mercy is super, super mobile, but I will say when she's not using her dash ability, in other words, if your teammates are very spread out and not organized in kind of a unit as would ideally be the case, then Mercy actually does suffer from lack of mobility, because her actual walk speed is, I wouldn't say slow. It's really just average. I would say, she walks about as fast as every other champion, such as Mei, for example. But it is really her abilities that she relies on to be extra mobile. And so that's how heroes like Genji or Widowmaker are able to take out Mercies in the back line, is because people are just like, Mercies are easy to headshot because they do kind of walk a little slow, even though they do have a smaller hitbox. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody here just to make sure that we get some uninterrupted gameplay. So in theory, I should always be efficiently boosting my teammates' damage, but also trying to keep them alive at the same time. That's kind of the goal here. So, for example, I'm going to take a look at my team and I'm going to say, okay, well, right now, maybe the people that are in the choke need some heals. If we had kind of a Widowmaker at this point in the game, then I would definitely be boosting her right now, because she can absolutely negate this choke with her powerful sniper rifle fire. But as of now, my best role is really to just kind of keep on healing. And especially like if you're on attack, you can stick next to the payload, and the extra health regeneration from the payload makes her a lot harder to kill because she just heals for too much health all at once. So here, you know, kind of I'm watching my Brigitte, assessing whether she's gonna go in or not, and then, you know, she might not be the best person to boost in this situation. For example, we kind of have a Mei that's also trying to deal damage here, but you know, I felt that Brigitte was going in for a pick, and therefore I want to assist her as much as possible to at least get the pick, even if she does die, because at this point in the game, because we're on attack and we have such a short walk from spawn, it's a better tactical decision to trade at that point. Now, if it was the other way around, where the enemy has a super long, a super short walk from spawn, then we have to make that tactical decision and say, okay, do we want to be trading, or should I play more conservatively and more safe? Now, when, for example, Roadhog was using his ultimate there, that would be a prime time to flick on the damage boost. And actually, what I'm going to do now is, first of all, alt to save the Brigitte, but I'm going to take this opportunity to, first of all, kill this Reaper because he's annoying as... And he doesn't have Wraith form. I don't know why he was being super aggressive there. And there's a random-ass Torb turret here, which, fortunately, I was... Oh my god! Running away from that. Back up, Roadhog, back up. Make sure I'm calling out Kana advisory. This Tracer might be dead. Nope. Okay. So we got out of there just fine. One other thing, too, that I like to mention is that Mercy's tether, you don't have to be directly looking at your allies when you are healing them. And so what you can actually do is constantly check the flank around you. For example, I know that Brigitte is fighting someone over here because I don't have to look directly at whoever I'm healing. And so you can use that flexibility to your advantage a lot. Here I'm making a super risky play. That was incredibly dumb. And at higher MMRs, it would be super unadvisable. Also, that was a really good play by them. That was a good ult combo. I think we should be able to keep pushing now. I mean, we do have plenty of... we have spawns here, so like a walk isn't that bad. So you can look around, check the flanks for any Sombras, for any Tracers that might be sneaking up on you. Here, because Tracer is a little more mobile and able to heal herself with her E, I'm kind of going to focus on healing Brigitte. I do know that she has a self-heal, but one thing that you kind of have to do when you play Mercy is make the tactical decision of who to heal. For example, Mei isn't always a super high priority target. I jumped in front of them. That was so silly, man. That was so silly. Oh, those are... Well, I'm not a perfect player either. But, so for example, if I'm healing Mei and Mei is charging on the front lines, she's not a super high priority to heal because she can make herself invulnerable and heal herself at the same time. Now, Roadhog is also another kind of sponge for healing, where he has his own self-healing ability that actually heals him pretty massively. Shoot, I wish I could get that res, but I think it's better to stick with the team at this point. But I'm not sure if that was the right tactical decision. And I'm going to try to res her immediately, stay out of range of the Reinhardt, try to get as many heals out as I can. He's going to go down. Unfortunately, Reaper did waste ult. We got to reset. Alright, so I'm going to kind of keep healing my Roadhog here. And because he's at full health, I'm just going to try to get as much damage in as possible while also trying to keep him alive, which he's able to do. And he should be able to heal here, there. And so now I can immediately switch off and kind of keep boosting damage. So, let's see. What else is worth mentioning, man? There's so much to talk about with Mercy. Sometimes I do like to use her ultimate as a way, kind of preemptively, because usually you would want to save it if you anticipate a dive from the enemy Genji or some sort of other dive from like a Doomfist. But because there are also moments where you realize that you might be able to build ult fast enough. Oh shoot, that was silly of me, man. I keep mispositioning myself like that. So they're going to be coming down to the left, and unfortunately, I think we're going to get ulted on here again. They're using their ults really effectively. We are not comboing as well as we probably should be, unfortunately. But we do have a minute here, and we do have 2 ultimates. So maybe Tracer can get 1 pick, and then that can lead into maybe others. I'm thinking that's kind of the strategy here. Shoot, I forgot my train of thought, as I am wont to do when I record these commentaries. Darn it. Oh, using her ult preemptively. So it is sometimes kind of just, you make that value judgment and you say, okay, well, I can build my ult pretty quickly, you know, under 4 minutes, you know, more closer to 60 seconds if I'm healing optimally. And so for example, right here, I don't need to use it to resurrect anybody necessarily, but I do want to use it to boost my teammates' ability or damage in the team fight. And her right click is a high priority to use when you're ulting, because you deliver a lot more value to your team by giving everybody a 30% damage boost, or most of your teammates, if they happen to be near your target, a 30% damage boost over the extra 10 health per second that your staff will deliver while you are using the ultimate. So that's only roughly, what is that? A 20% increase in healing per second while you are ulting versus 30% damage boost on each of your teammates. And so you can use it preemptively to kind of get that edge in combat. Also, you can save the ultimate to resurrect a particularly hard to hit res. Here should be pretty safe as long as the Ryan keeps a shield up. And shoot, that Ryan just charged into everybody. But I think Brigitta's able to get past his shield. I kind of want to keep healing her because she's taking the majority of the damage here. And then maybe boost McCree. Okay, so maybe he can land some extra damage there. Okay, so Tracer got the kill there, so I'm trying to kind of keep a mental tally in my head of who is the more effective DPS. Wow, that was a very lucky high noon. He just like nailed Torbjorn coming out of spawn there. Reaper on the top left. Right, Reiner behind. Unfortunate, man. We're just kind of gonna back up, keep maximum distance available. Brigitta's gonna try to back up, and she should be able to. Brigitta, back up. You're alone. Oh, it is overtime. Okay, she's gonna have to hang in there, man. She's gonna have to hang in there. I gotta keep touching cart. Dodging the snot out of these guys as our team comes to the rescue, and hopefully Ryan can land some insane damage. Oh, we got 4 picks. Going. McCree needs to land some shots. Brigitta needs to not die. And I think I can sneak in for a real long distance res there. Unfortunately, getting nailed by Blossom. I'm going to try to heal McCree as much as I can here. And I think it is best to probably boost up some damage here, but people are just getting injured too fast. So I do have about 10k at this point. And running into a Zarya is not super wise. We still are at overtime. I'm not sure what that Torbjorn was doing. I don't know why you had flanked so far like that. So let's talk about hero selection a little bit. How do you build a composition around Mercy? I think that she does go well with the majority of team compositions out there just because she's always effective. I will say that if the enemy team has sort of insta-shot DPS classes, such as a Widowmaker, such as a Genji, Sombra can shut down Mercy pretty effectively because Sombra makes her super immobile. Those are instances when you might have to say, okay, maybe we need a different healer because you really just want to keep a watch on your death count. The key to playing Mercy effectively, in my opinion, is first of all, being efficient with your healing and damage. Second of all, not dying. That's a huge factor, which might seem obvious, right? Not die in Overwatch, of course, Nathan, that's obvious. But when you die 3 times in a row after just arriving back to the front line, you have to kind of make that self-assessment of like, okay, did I die because it was my fault? are they countering me? What do I need to switch to not be countered? Now, Mercy goes really well with, I will say, hit scan teammates. For example, McCree, Widowmaker, Ashe are great picks to boost just because their hit scan, basically you can't counter a bullet flying at you. Pharah's an obvious choice to pair with Mercy as well. I will say that Pharah can actually be kind of a weakness for Mercy because she is so labor intensive, so to speak. She requires a lot of attention and care in order to kind of keep that composition going. And the more that Pharah pulls your attention from your other teammates, the less healing that they are likely to receive. And so you have to be really careful to not abandon the rest of your team while also trying to pocket the Pharah as much as possible. Trying to get heals on this Roadhog while not getting sniped at the same time. So right here, I see that they have a Widowmaker, they have a Soldier 76, and they have a Baptiste. So I see that there's soldiers flanking around the right side. I'm going to return some fire, at least suppress him from that corner. If he was smart, he would probably either sprint around the corner and try to land a Helix rocket and or a headshot. But we have a lot of coverage right now on that corner, and so I'm not super concerned about that particular problem right now. I do see that McCree is a little low over here, so I'm going to keep an eye and kind of keep into cover, and I got to really watch behind me. There is somebody down over there. I think I have the coverage to actually get the res in. Hopefully Ryan keeps up his shield, and here's where I would be communicating things like keep up your shield or something like that. I know that there's a Widowmaker sniping from spawn, so I'm not going to go around this choke. My team does need some heals. They've managed to push in and kind of throw some damage in the Widowmaker's face, so it's a little more clear. But here is exactly the situation where I'd be afraid to get headshot, because I know that Widowmaker can literally just walk out of spawn. She's got plenty of coverage when she can land a quick headshot on me. And so I'm really kind of trying to stay behind the cart here. So what I'm looking for right now is to keep my team alive. I'm looking for particularly hard to land reses, which Roadhog is being super, super aggressive right now. So he'd be a prime candidate for like an ultimate res. And I'm going to try to boost this McCree around the corner. That seems a little too far forward for my preference. He is unfortunately unable to be healed, and we're going to try to get more heals onto him. Still not going to use my ultimate here. Almost got nailed by a headshot, and we're going to boost that Roadhog's damage. I think here is the opportunity. We want to always keep our Reinhardt alive. Although this team is being unbelievably aggressive. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so their Widowmaker used her ability. So, okay, so that Widowmaker got a pick there. Well, at least on the thing. Unfortunately, that was a mistake. I don't think I should have probably flown back to her just to keep these guys alive for a little bit longer. There's a Baptiste on the left side there. He's taking cover. I would assume he's probably pretty low, or he's trying to use a self-healing ability. Yeah, again, emphasis on using pistol to throw in some extra damage whenever your team is kind of at full health and you're just kind of chilling, waiting for the enemy to come forward. That extra damage is always appreciated by the team, even though I have a whopping 581 damage. I'm not sure. There's something going wrong with this enemy team composition. They do have a Reaper now, and I do need to back up from the... Okay. That was an unfortunate... So what I should have done there is actually flew to my Reinhardt instead of to the res. I thought I could kill two birds with one stone by basically escaping from the Reaper and trying to resurrect the McCree at the same time, but obviously that did not work out. So again, really kind of just keeping an eye on where the aggro is coming from. One thing that can be hard to nail as Mercy without a proper, without some proper game sense, is anticipating where the aggro is going to come from. For example, a Brigida charging into battle, that's a pretty obvious play to kind of send some healing her way. And, you know, your tanks are always going to be taking the brunt of damage if they're doing their job correctly. But it's always better to keep the squishier champions alive, particularly your DPS, because they tend to not have as many self-healing abilities. Okay, so we're going to join a skirmish here, and we'll embark on one more match before we call it a day today. So let's talk positioning for a moment. So a lot of Mercies will kind of stick in the back line, which I think is very smart because she has a pretty long tether range here. So like I'm still tethering to this Mercy from quite a long ways away, but notice how once I actually get out of range of the Mercy, it'll still keep healing her for just a second. So if you see that there's a teammate actually kind of going around a corner and you see that they might still be engaging in combat around that corner, you don't want to immediately give up healing them and switching to another teammate because the tether does last for just a second there, as we can see. Unfortunately, we joined a different game before I could demonstrate that. All right, Temple of Anubis is one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Going to insta-lock Mercy here. So I don't think I really finished talking about team composition. So
how's everybody doing?
Positioning and team comps. Those are the topics I still want to hit on a little bit. So I kind of was talking about position. So let me just finish off that tangent. So a lot of Mercies stick in the back line, and that's good most of the time. But again, I think this is where you have to make a check on yourself and ask yourself, okay, what is the enemy team running for flankers? Because you don't actually want to be so far behind your team that they can't immediately come to your aid if a Genji jumps on you. And what I mean by that is that, for example, let's say in the next 20 seconds, we're going to be charging through this choke point, right? It's better to actually stick with the brunt of the force that's pushing through that choke, kind of make yourself immersed in your teammates and let them absorb all of the damage for you instead of hanging behind. Because let's say that there is potentially a Genji that's kind of crouching up here or maybe crouching in an unknown spot, because we're obviously, like, walking out of spawn, we're not going to be checking every single nook and cranny for a Genji to be hiding. But that's not to say that there isn't one there potentially, and so you want to always kind of stick by your team, let them absorb that damage, let you heal them back to full health. Okay, so Ryan died. Unfortunately, he's in a little bit too dangerous of a spot, although I think I can actually heal or resurrect the Zarya here. Unfortunately, Reaper did die, so we're gonna need to regroup. Regroup and let's go left side. Let's left side in the little room. Wait for Ryan's shield to actually push forward. Shoot. I don't have my res up. So also one little tip is that I believe death counters last for 12 seconds. I want to say it does depend on the stage of the match that you're in, I think. But just know that, for example, if your resurrect cooldown is below kind of that 12-second mark, then you should actually kind of walk up to that res and get ready to res if that is the decision that you make. Because, and our Zarya is super lit right now, so I'm just going to try to, try to keep Reaper alive first, but then shove as much damage into her as possible. Zarya, go forward, boosting. Uh-oh. Okay. So our mines are fine. We're going to heal. And unfortunately, they have a tire coming in. I gotta run over here. Tyre took out Anna. I did survive though, so we have one healer. I'm gonna try to heal this Reaper. We'll try to res the Anna. Unfortunately, I missed it, but I can get the Reaper. He might even be a more important res. Unfortunately, I think we're getting demolished here, so we gotta regroup. Yeah, as soon as they get like 1 or 2 picks, it's better to just kind of regroup behind Ryan's shield. And Zarya wastes her gravity ultimate. That is unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't even get a pick out of that. So unfortunately, we are without grav right now. So right now, I'm kind of considering using my ultimate. One additional way to use your ultimate is to speedily get yourself to the front line if you think that that might change the tide of battle for your teammates. Although that is the least recommended way to use the ultimate, in my opinion, is to just use it for the extra movement speed. And here we're gonna get a nice vantage point where I can kind of rain some fire down, and I think they're actually aware of my position here, so I'm gonna switch back to healing team. And we got an Anna that needs healing over here. And Junkrat is unfortunately producing a lot of spam, so trying to stay out of the way of the spam. Kind of keeping an eye on my team there. And we're definitely going to use ultimate because I need to keep everybody alive as much as possible. We're going to be making this push. So here is where I'm going to go for a pick on the Mercy, which, okay, so we got her. That is awesome. And so now I'm going to try to keep him up to health and spread out those heals as much as I can. I know that there's probably going to be an enemy on the right side here. And I know that Ryan is taking aggro, so I'm going to focus him for heals. But try to keep our squishies alive as much as possible. And I do have one extra res opportunity. Ah, darn it. I was waiting for Tyre to actually come in, and I was going to potentially dodge out of the way of it. But I ended up just getting picked there, which is fine. I mean, like, you know, one or two picks here and there is not bad. But I only have 2 deaths right now, which is doing pretty good for this match so far. I'd say that's about average. If you can get away with between 1 and 2 deaths in an entire match, then you're pretty golden when it comes to that. But I would say, you know, start considering switching heroes if you are beyond, you know, 7 to 8 deaths, and it's not even halftime. You know, that's kind of a disaster scenario. Might want to think about switching to somebody with more survivability. And by survivability, I mean more of like the self heals, somebody like Baptiste, where you always have that like backup immortality field, or Lucio self heal, he can heal himself. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing Mercy for the purposes of this video. So team composition. Okay, we talked a little bit about positioning on the team composition. So again, she's good to pair with that teammate that you always kind of want to keep alive, and can pocket, for example, a Bastion, a Pharah. In terms of tanks, it is nice to play with tanks that do not require a ton of heals all the time. For example, Rhine is actually an excellent tank to pair with Mercy because, oh, I don't know what happened there. I like dodged backwards. That was weird. I've never actually experienced that before. Because Ryan doesn't always like take damage and require a lot of heals because he has his shield to absorb a lot of damage. Roadhog, on the other hand, is a pain in the you-know-what to keep healed because he just always takes damage, and you never really know if his healing ability is off cooldown, unless, you know, the round is just starting or a scenario like that. Other tanks. Winston is great. Winston, if you pocket a Winston, Winston's always require healing, first of all, kind of like Genji in that way, where they always are asking for heals. And the extra damage is a good pairing with Winston because his electrical weapon actually goes through shields, and so it's kind of a good guaranteed source of damage, if you can kind of see my air quotes for guaranteed there. They do have a ball right now, so I'm kind of aware of watching where ball is if he kind of sneaks behind us and goes onto point. But right now I'm just going to try to keep cover, keeping cover, not get headshot by the soldier, because I think that soldier might actually be at choke point right now, although that situation might have changed given the amount of time that has passed since I last noticed him. But also, one thing you can do passively is when you notice a teammate get launched really high in the air, it's always good to dash to them and slingshot up to get increased vantage point. It's always important to take the high ground. In Overwatch, positioning is very, very important, and when you can take the high ground and actually, and I'm just gonna ultimate for extra heals here. And we're going to try to keep the Rhine alive. He's taking so much damage. But I can actually still just, like, cheekily res him here. And we're going to fire at the Mercy. Oh, and unfortunately, I'm out of ultimate charge. That sucks. Okay, but I actually can damage boost. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Good situation here. The Rhine was able to clear house. And we are able to... Well, we're at least able to contest point. But there is a Reaper over there, so I'm going to try to stick more towards the right side here, although I am opening myself up to a little bit more of an opportunity to get headshot. And unfortunately, we're still going to get ulted on. And there's nothing really I can do about that. Sometimes, you know, you kind of just accept that death. For example, when Genji uses Blade, it's a little bit of a guaranteed death. And, like, that is something that beginner players might get a little upset over or a little bit angry over. But honestly, in this game, as soon as you can kind of accept how things are happening and prevent your emotional the emotional side of your brain from taking over. Oh my gosh. Wait, but I insta spawned. Okay, I guess I'll this match is so weird, man. That was definitely a mistake on my part. Oh, that's an enemy ball. What am I doing? Okay, see if I can res the Rhine, and I immediately get crapped on. So this is not looking up for how this match is going, but yeah, no, we won't be able to contest that. So they're gonna have a little bit more time than us, 2 minutes. That's a little scary because that basically means 2 rounds of ultimates if they're efficiently charging their ultimates. And so that basically means that we have to defend against 2 waves of ultimates with a disadvantage. But yeah, I think maybe what I should try to do is leverage my ultimate more to boost damage. We are running a Pharah now, so that she might be more of the central or centerpiece of our composition. But yeah, I'm trying to think of more team comp, more on the side of team comp, because when we take a look at our healers, I would say Mercy doesn't pair particularly well with any other healer, although Lucio brings a decent, you know, if you can combine Mercy's heals with Lucio's speed boost, that's a really nice kind of quality of life improvement over for your teammates. But she kind of is just like she fits in everywhere in my opinion. Again, you want to make sure that you don't get instantly headshot because you do only have 200 health. And you're always kind of dodging around because you're very squishy. And flankers are very effective at killing Mercies. But there are ways to mitigate all of those things, which is why I still love Mercy so much, because she brings so much to the table, and her downsides can be negated pretty easily with a little bit of smart play. And fortunately, they are actually just focusing the crap out of our tanks, so they're able to survive pretty effectively and get a lot of heals. I didn't see where our DPS went. Oh, need to heal up our Zarya there. For some reason, I thought we had a Brigida, but that was actually just my mistake. Gonna dash forward. I find myself in a tough position here, so because I think that I'm probably gonna be killed, I'm just gonna try to whip on my pistol and break free from that situation. I know also that their team is going to be walking in from this area, from the choke point. So, for example, there, I could have potentially been headshot by the soldier or Helix rocketed. And so it's best to kind of maneuver myself to the back line where I don't anticipate the enemy is going to be coming from, while checking the flank for those insta-gib type of heroes. That is something that I wish Overwatch kind of did implement. Is like the ability for your character to insta-gib upon death. If you guys don't know what gib means, it's like when your hero kind of like explodes and turns into a bunch of mush, which TF2 actually did really effectively. I don't know what Ball is doing really right here, but I feel like I'm kind of out of position and our team needs some extra support. And so Soldier's actually ulting here, so I definitely want to avoid getting nailed by that ultimate while also rotating to the back line, dodging as much as I can. I would have anticipated that she would have kept on point, but I guess she saw that I was an easy pick. It's just super annoying. Okay, so I can resurrect the Reaper. That is not a problem. And their Ball is super out of position. Ball behind, Ball out of position. Yeah, what is this match, man? This Ball, like, I guess he's kind of doing his job because he's, like, avoiding, or, like, he's getting us to look backwards and taking away all the distraction from... Okay, so we have 18 seconds. We kind of have one final push. I doubt that we're going to be able to take this point, but I'm going to keep healing. ball on the left side and see how we arrive. No, we have to walk forward. We have to walk forward, team. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Huge plays from Zarya. Huge grab, and I get headshot immediately. That's okay. We're on the point. We got one tick, which is currently being contested. Unfortunately, my team is without heals. And I think maybe it would have been a better idea for Lucio to maybe switch to Amora, where we have a little bit more crowd healing. But Mercy is kind of a single target healer, and that can be a little bit of a downside for her. But she does kind of trade that single target healing with the fact that she can boost that. Oh, shoot, man. Lucio was doing a good job of actually stalling there, but he was a little bit too high above the point, which I thought would have been... I thought the round would have counted him as being on the point, but that's kind of interesting. All right, what else can I talk about? She has some awesome skins too. Look at that. Amber, Cobalt. Fortune is super cool. Snow Angel, but one of my favorites is Devil, because it allows her to change her ultimate voice line to... it changes her ultimate voice line, which is kind of like a nice little cosmetic touch. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm at silver healing at this point, which is bad news bears, because I always want to be gold healing. That's kind of what I aim for most of the time. And in fact, I feel that Mercy's healing output should allow her to always have gold healing. So that means that I'm not doing my job in some way. And in fact, I think it was really just the fact that I was killed a bunch of times in a row last game, which is really the factor that caused that to happen. So right now, this is kind of a good point to heal your teammates from, although you can very easily be headshot if they happen to run a Widowmaker. And here I'm gonna make sure I keep checking scoreboard for what they might have for team composition. It's gonna show me in just a second here. Oops. Actually activated the scroll ability there. Okay, so they have a Doomfist. Okay, so here's where... With Doomfist, you really want to be immersed in your team, because he will easily pick you out of a crowd. No problem at all. Any self-respecting Doomfist can take out a Mercy, no problem. And so the best way to survive against that is to immerse yourself in your team. Let them defend you just as you heal them, and exchange in that nice business transaction. So I'm throwing some support over to our baby diva, because yo, what are you doing, ball? This is such a confusing ball. Like, I don't know what his goal is really. Okay, so they have a Pharah now, which we are going to need hit scan focus Pharah. We don't actually have a hit scan, so maybe it would be better to call for some hit scan. Oh my gosh, he's gonna see I'm an easy pick. And I'm going to go ahead and ult out of that situation. And hopefully I can actually resurrect this Reinhardt. Oh, unfortunately I did get picked. That was kind of a risky resurrect. And, you know, that's... Again, I'm not a perfect player. I would consider that a mistake on my part. That was a very aggressive res. But I just thought I could pull it off, man. It's so tempting to bring the Rhine back to life, especially when he can swing that hammer in such close quarters. Okay, so we have to survive last point for about 2.5 minutes here. And back up. I don't know why our Baptiste is getting picked. That pretty much lost us the game at this point, because if they wanted to push in, they could very easily push in. Because he got picked... here's not an ideal situation for me to be, because my beam actually shows to the enemy that I'm on the right side of the battlefield. I did survive the shatter. Unfortunately, did not survive that. And I did mean to res the McCree, although we got the Baptiste, which might be actually a little better because he can stall with his immortality field, but again, the odds of winning this match are not super good right now, because They still have 2 full minutes. And all they have to... They don't even have to cap the entire point. But, man, let me live. Let me live. Alright, so I got a 3-second. Oh, ran into that mine. That was a little scary. Alright. So, I think they got it. I don't think we can come to point. I mean, like, they're all on point at this time period. Yeah, there's no way. So anyway, that was a little on Mercy, and although we ended up with a defeat, I feel like I was able to kind of educate you guys on how to use her efficiently and effectively, while also making some mistakes myself, which I totally am aware of. Yeah, man, look at that. Ryan just charged into everybody, and he immediately gets taken out there, and then there goes me to dash in, and I immediately get killed there. So that was unfortunate, but all right. Yes, that is the breakdown on Mercy. Feel free to leave a rating on this video if you guys did enjoy the video, and feel free to hit that subscribe button if you like this kind of content, because there will be more where this there will be more where this comes from. And hopefully I will see all of you in the next video.